very hard to describe a single successful quality in an application, but it's about not being generic. A lot of candidates come from the same sorts of backgrounds and have the same sort of interests and ideas. It's really about arranging the facts about yourself in a way that's most interesting, I think.
I was so discouraged from going to the bar at university and just anecdotally. I was floored by how, it is strange for someone of different background to walk into the bar. It is a strange feeling, but there's a lot of warmth and kindness. I really enjoyed my pupillage year. So I would encourage people to apply, not to be put off, and to be their natural selves. Obviously make your application as persuasive as possible, but do that by being you and talking about, what you bring to the table.
What we're looking for in a written application is something that makes us think that the candidate has thought carefully about Chambers and why Chambers would be a place that they would be interested in coming to work. And so what we're really looking for is that thought process behind understanding what Chambers does and thinking carefully about why they would want to come and work for us and what skills and abilities they could bring to Chambers.
Chambers accepts applications from every walk of life. What we're interested in is a commitment to the commercial bar and an ability to do really well in our sector.
We have a set of criteria which we set out in the pupillage policy to mark out what would make a successful candidate for pupillage. And there are as many different ways of fulfilling those criteria as there are applicants. And so we welcome applicants from all backgrounds, all educational backgrounds, all social backgrounds.
There's no stereotype as to who can be a good barrister. There are some qualities that you should work on to communicate well, as in directly and clearly. Doesn't matter how you speak or what words you use, but it's more about the substance of what you're saying. And to be thorough and to be inquisitive about what you're doing.
In terms of tailoring an application for Chambers, I think the most important thing is to look at the criteria which we have in the pupillage policy and to think about how you best satisfy those criteria. And also in particular to think about what it is about Atkin Chambers that makes it an attractive place for you to come to work.
Construction law is not a subject that's taught at university, and for that reason almost anyone coming into it will have no specific knowledge of construction law. Doesn't mean you need to come from an engineering background, but if you aren't interested or you don't get excited in how things get built, then it may not necessarily be the right career choice for you.
Our work, we specialise in construction and engineering law. What will spark a person's interest in that area of law is very individual to that person. So it might be an interest in the subject matter, the built environment. It might be an interest in those areas of law that we tend to work in, so contract or tort law. Again, the most important thing, I think, is for a candidate to think about what excites them, what interests them about construction law, which, as I say, would be very personal to them, and then to tailor their application around that. The characteristics which make a strong candidate for pupillage are essentially those which we set out in our pupillage policy. So we're looking for people who have a good understanding and ability to use the law, are strong in written work, are strong in oral advocacy, have a commitment to practice in Chambers, have a good understanding of diversity, and who have integrity and who are able to work with others.
The first thing a strong pupillage candidate will do is they will read all of the different criteria Atkin look for and then think as a whole about how they will show those things in their application. And that means that when we read it, it's comprehensive, but it doesn't repeat itself and it's as concise as it can be. Then when a strong candidate comes into interview, I think what they do is that they will find the extra minutes at the end of their preparation time to order their thoughts into a persuasive structure, but still then when they're in the interview room itself, make sure they're listening and trying to work out what they need to do to change their structure to address all of the concerns that are being raised by the people asking them questions.
Formally speaking, we have no minimum academic credentials. Realistically, it's fair to say that we would be expecting a good 2-1 or a first, but equally there are other ways of satisfying the criteria which we set out in our policy, namely good understanding and use of the law. And so we look at the whole range of what would be included in an applicant's application. So formally speaking, no minimum credentials.
We assess applicants on 3 bases. The first, we have a paper round which goes through the Pupillage gateway, which has a series of questions which are the equivalent of a cover letter and a CV. The second round, if you get through that sift, is an interview with us. We talk to about between 30 and 20 people on that first round, and they are asked a series of questions about their background and CV, but we also ask them a general question of legal or social interest. And that's just to test how they think. And then the third round, I should say, the second interview, is a legal question. One which you're asked to prepare in writing in advance, and one which is provided to you sight unseen.
I would say this is a fantastic opportunity. It's an opportunity to do some of the most interesting, high-profile and high-value cases that come before the courts and arbitration. And if you enjoy the possibility of travel, it's there for you. I would say pull out all the stops, because it's a wonderful life if you can achieve it.
Everyone wants you to turn your pupillage into tenancy.